Did you ever sit down and wonder why the Bible records God created the world in 6 days and rested the seventh? Why did it not take him 3, 8, 11, 15, or any other number of days? And what is up with God resting on the seventh day? God does not need to rest. So why is a day of rest part of the creation story? God told the prophet Isaiah, "For I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done." Isaiah 46, 9-12. How did God declare the end from the beginning? He clandestinely concealed it in the fact that the creation event concluded in 7 days. Be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. 2 Peter 3:8. In other words, in God's eyes, one day equals 1,000 years. In short, as you will soon see, the 7-day creation story actually represented and foretold of an absolutely fixed 7-day, 7,000-year plan for mankind's time on planet Earth. Therefore, God had told when the end would occur from the beginning, in 7 days. Armed with the divine prophetic knowledge that one day equals 1,000 years, let us now take a closer look at the astonishing creation narrative found in chapter 1 of the book of Genesis. Be prepared to be dumbfounded, for God not only told when the end would occur from the beginning by utilizing 7 days for the creation, but he also prophesied remarkably about things that are not yet done. For in the 7-day creation story narrative, each day's activities prophetically mirrored the major spiritual occurrence of that particular 1,000-year period of mankind's history. Do you understand? In other words, the language used to describe the events of each of the 7 creation days actually foreshadowed the most important events of that particular millennial day. Let us take a look at this mind-boggling revelation. Day 1 represented the first 1,000-year period of mankind on Earth, which would run from 3972 BC to 2972 BC on our current Gregorian calendar. This millennial day's most momentous event was to be the spiritual fall of Adam and Eve after they sinned in the Garden of Eden. Having eaten the forbidden fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, mankind instantly learned the difference between good and evil, which is to say, light and dark. Consequently, we read on the first day of creation that God made light and separated the light from the dark. God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Genesis 1:4. The Bible would later go on to refer to good as light and evil as darkness. Jesus said, "And men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light." John 3:19-20. Do you see? In short, the spiritual watershed moment of the first millennial day on planet Earth was when good and evil, light and dark, became discernible, separated in mankind's heart. And God had prophetically declared the event and its timing, albeit secretly, in the creation story's first day narrative. Day 2 represented the second 1,000-year period of mankind on Earth, which would run from 2972 BC to 1972 BC. This was to be the millennial day when the worldwide flood of Noah would devastate planet Earth. Adding up the ages of the patriarchs from Genesis chapter 5 along with the age of Noah when the flood occurred in Genesis 7:11, the Bible clearly records the global flood took place 1,656 years after creation. Thus, you see, it happened during the second millennial day of mankind's history. And the Bible's second-day creation narrative had secretly foretold, "And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament." Genesis 1:7. Friend, this is flood talk. These words foreshadowed the great flood. Watch how closely the language mirrors Peter's later words describing Noah's flood. "And the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. 2 Peter 3, 5, and 6. Day 3 represented the third 1,000-year period of mankind on Earth, which would run from 1972 BC to 972 BC. This was the millennial day when God would create and direct the 440-year-long tell-all Israelite bondage to freedom story from the 2238th year till the 2678th year, which secretly foretold everything concerning his plan for the souls of mankind's salvation, freedom, and confirmed what they must do to obtain eternal life. The climax of God's parable, which revealed how he would deliver mankind's souls out of bondage to sin, was when he delivered the Israelites out of Egypt's bondage at the Red Sea. As you know, God supernaturally rolled back the impassable waters so the Israelites could cross on dry land. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Exodus 14:21 and 22. What does the Bible prophetically record happened on the third day of creation? It says, "And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." Genesis 1, 9, and 10. Are you stunned yet? God's 7-day creation story narrative was perfectly foreshadowing things not yet done for mankind. Day 4 represented the fourth 1,000-year period of mankind on Earth, which would run from 972 BC to AD 28. This was the millennial day when God planned to send forth his Son, the Messiah, into the world to atone for mankind's sin, effectively freeing them from their spiritual bondage to sin and death. Jesus was/is the true light of the world. Like the physical earth would die without the sun's light, so too mankind would be forever spiritually dead without Christ's light. The Apostle John wrote about Jesus, that Jesus was the true light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. John 1, 9 and 10. Jesus declared, "As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." John 9, 5. And what do we read was created on the fourth day of creation? The light sources, i.e. the sun and the moon. Genesis chronicles, "And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser to rule the night." Genesis 1, 16. Biblically undeniably, as you will soon learn, the year of Jesus' death, resurrection, and ascension absolutely positively occurred during mankind's 4,000th year of history, which means he lived on earth during mankind's fourth millennial day. But not only did Jesus live on earth during the fourth millennial day, so did John the Baptist. He was the lesser light. Just like the moon reflects or bears witness of the true light of the sun, so John the Baptist merely bore witness of Christ's light. The Apostle John wrote, "He, John the Baptist, was not that light, but he was sent to bear witness of that light." John 1, 8. See, John the Baptist was like the moon. Is that not incredible? Yes, friend, God's creation of the greater and lesser lights on the fourth day of creation foretold the coming of John the Baptist and Jesus Christ during mankind's fourth millennial day. Day 5 represented the fifth 1,000-year period of mankind on earth, which would run from AD 28 to AD 1028. At this time, I have not been given the spiritual interpretation of the relationship of the creation narrative to the actual events of this millennial day of mankind's history. Day 6 represents the 6th 1,000-year period of mankind on earth, which runs from AD 1028 to AD 2028. You are living in the last score of this millennial day right now. During this millennium, mankind fully inhabited planet Earth. This period contains the great explorers who circumnavigated the globe on the high seas, Marco Polo, Ferdinand Magellan, Christopher Columbus, and Sir Francis Drake. Furthermore, human population has exploded in the last 1,000 years to incredibly massive numbers, 500 million to almost 7 billion now. God would later prophesy in the Bible that this millennial day will end with a man, an Antichrist, subduing all of mankind on earth. And he, Antichrist, causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 13, 16, and 17. And what do we read God created on the sixth day of creation? He made man. God created man in his own image, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it. Genesis 1, 27 and 28. I could not think of more pertinent prophetic words to perfectly sum up the happenings of the past 1,000 years. For mankind has truly mapped, populated, and Antichrist will soon subdue the entire globe during this sixth millennial day. Now, day 7 represents the coming 7th 1,000-year period of mankind on earth, which will run from AD 2028 to AD 3028. This millennial day will be ushered in with the fiery return of Jesus Christ to planet Earth during the year 6000, or the end of the sixth day. So, on the seventh day in the creation story, we find God rested after ending all his created work. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work. Genesis 2:2. God waited for over 4,000 years until he first revealed to mankind in the biblical book, the Revelation, about a coming 1,000-year peaceful, restful kingdom reign of Christ on earth. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And they, the saints, lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Revelation 22 and 4. Do you see? During this millennial day, Satan will be locked up, and only all the resurrected righteous will live on a new, regenerated earth. He, Jesus Christ, shall judge among many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Micah 4:3. In other words, it will be a millennial day of rest on planet Earth. That is why God included a seventh day of rest in the creation story. It foretold of the coming 1,000-year Sabbath reign of Jesus Christ on planet Earth, which will commence during mankind's 6,000th year. Are you shocked? God's complete master plan for mankind's time on earth was prophetically contained in his 7-day creation story. Talk about a reason to believe in God and his Bible. Friend, we are undisputably on the verge of closing out the sixth millennial day, 6,000 years, on earth, and watching Jesus Christ burst through the darkened clouds to set up his earthly, restful millennial kingdom. It is an inescapable, unavoidable fact. The Bible is sprinkled from front to back cover with prophetic clues about how this sixth millennial day will come to an end, and we would be extremely naive to not be able to look around and see what is happening on planet Earth today and recognize the signs of his imminent return. I cannot say it any clearer or louder. Jesus Christ is coming very soon. Are you ready to meet him? Are you ready to meet the man who loved you enough to die on a cross for you? Do you love him? Are you excited to see him? Well, ready or not, his fierce coming is unstoppable, and I pray for your sake you are ready.
Well, let me ask you a question you probably never pondered. Why did God create the world in 6 days? Do you think he had no logic, motive, or purpose behind using that specific number of days? Do you think he just placed a bunch of numbers in a hat and nonchalantly drew one? Or do you believe the cosmos required that precise number of days to be completed, as if God could not have created it in 1, 2, 5, or any other number of days? Friend, you should know better. God can do anything. Which brings us back to the original question. Why did God create the world in 6 days? The answer to this mystery is contained in the Bible, and its gradual, albeit secret, uncovering in story after story leads to the stunning prophetic title of Gabriel Ansley Erb's book, Undeniable Biblical Proof Jesus Christ Will Return to Planet Earth exactly 2,000 years after the year of his death. But far more important than merely discovering this fact, Gabriel's book will fully elucidate and crush all confusion concerning what a person must do to obtain eternal life. For it will illuminate the true spiritual meaning behind every detail God controlled to happen in the ancient Bible stories. So sit back and hold on, because Gabriel's message is going to be a life-changing ride. Order your copy today in paperback or ebook form from Amazon.com.